Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I've got a special guest on the channel. I'm joined with none other than Jordan Hill.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, probably not a familiar face for a lot of you guys watching my channel. Obviously I post specifically Amazon FBA content. Jordan is mainly in, I guess, more of like the e-commerce agency space. So yeah, I'll just basically let you do a brief introduction of what you do, I guess, give the viewers some perspective, and then we'll jump into some questions. I basically put out on my Instagram story earlier just asking business, lifestyle questions, e-commerce, Amazon. Basically got a ton of questions here, just going to sift through and yeah, just mainly go through some quick fire stuff. So I'm sure there'll be a ton of value in this video, and yeah, sure Jordan's got a lot of insights to share.
So I'm Jordan Hill. I've been an agency owner for 7 years, and I've been in e-com for 10 years in total. So as an agency, my business is called That Works Agency, and we've been going for actually 7 years now, as I said. And what we do is kind of three things. So we manage websites for brands, we build brand new websites or rebuild websites, and we actually optimize them as well, and that's what we're known for predominantly. So majority of our time is spent split testing, and in total the brands that we work with now generate over 650 million a year, and they're mainly based in Dubai, the UK, bits and bobs all over the world.
Yeah, so it's probably a lot different well, it's a hell of a lot different from Amazon because, well, I guess the model that we do, really the customer base is already there. They've already got product market fit. We are just basically selling existing brands, right? Whereas you're working with e-commerce brands that are having to basically acquire their own customers, right? So
yeah, that's exactly right. Like ultimately running a brand on its own and acquiring your own customers is a whole different world essentially, and we are just one part of that. So if you think of a traditional e-com brand, you obviously got your product, which needs to be great, your advertising needs to be great, your unit economics need to be great, and your website needs to be great as well. We just look after one specific part of that, so a website in particular, but there's obviously a lot of moving parts in there that you need to learn to actually operate sort of an e-com brand as per se.
Yeah, that's really cool. Obviously you work with some big well-known brands, right? In I guess the D2C kind of e-com space. Any brands that I think will be familiar to a lot of people?
So we pretty much do everything. So anything from like furniture, we've got a brand called Sofa Club that we've worked with for about 4 years. Space goods, so Matt, who we've just been with over the past couple of weeks. Yeah. Trying to think of any others. There's like Water 2, which is like a water filter brand. We do a hell of a lot of beauty. Yeah. There's probably, yeah, in total, like month-on-month brands that we work with, there's about 40, and then we have a lot of companies as well that just work with us on an ad hoc basis as and when they need.
Awesome, cool. Right, let's jump into some of these questions. So, first of all, your hardest day in business. I'll let you go first for this one, and then I'll answer as well.
So I actually know what the second question is going to be, which is what's the best day in business? And I don't really have a hard day, and I don't really have a best day because it's been, I can't particularly pinpoint one thing. But what I will do is, there was a time after I started, a period of about 3 years that it really took for me to gain traction with the agency, and I can pinpoint the day that actually gained traction with the agency, and it was an awful day. So essentially what happened was I was really stressed, and at the time we used to charge about £2,000 for a website. Yeah. I was losing money on it. It was just a complete waste of time, but what I was ultimately doing was building my portfolio. We still worked with some big brands at the time, but it was literally so cheap, but our quality was pretty good at the time. And I was just definitely stressed. I had about 3 members of staff. We had far too much work on. We just really was making not any money at all. And the phone rang, and it was somebody who wanted to work with us. And I was feeling so bad that day, like literally everything on top of me. And we were so behind, and the phone rang, as I said, and it was a woman who basically wanted to work with us. She's seen some other stuff that we've done. And I just thought, I don't have time for this. I'm just going to give a random number, which for me at the time was a lot of money, and it was 14 grand. Yeah. And I said, look, it's going to cost 14 grand. Anyway, she rang me back later that day, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. After speaking to her on the phone for an hour, and I was like, my mind just like completely blew. I was like, because I remember when I was charging 2K for a website, I just thought, fucking hell, like, how do you even charge 10K for a website? And then I just gave this random number of 14K because I was so stressed, and I kind of didn't want the work at the time. Like, I just really had enough of everything. Yeah. And that just, changed my mind completely.
The service delivery just didn't change. You went from overnight charging like 2K to just throwing this 14K figure out of nowhere, and then somebody just paid it.
Yeah.
And then,
Absolutely. But like, the service delivery was the same. We improved it a little bit.
Yeah.
And our prices have increased astronomically since then, to be like average what the market is actually charging, and like what a good value for the service that we actually deliver. But yeah, as you do grow, ultimately you have layers of management. You can never sell a website for 2K, when you've got 25 staff on payroll. So
no. Yeah.
you'd be losing money all day long. But yeah, at the time it was a lot of money, and it meant that we could actually be relatively profitable and begin growing and have money left over to reinvest into the business. And that was a point, it all came together and we started getting traction. And from there, we started selling more and more and more. And yeah, it all kind of came together at that moment, really.
So that's kind of like the worst day and the best day in one.
Yeah,
a bit of a combination.
Yeah, because I just felt so shit, and then I was like, fucking hell, my mind just got blown.
Yeah. So after that, did you just completely just charge 14K or like above? Did you just completely switch to like high ticket and just basically fuck the low ticket off?
Yeah, really. And to be honest, I was a little bit stupid at the time, and we used to do no retainer, and we never used to actually charge retainer. We always had brands come back to us every single month and give us jobs. Like some days we'd be invoicing a client 400 quid, the next month we'd be doing 4 grand, but it was just so up and down. So what I had to do is, we have the project side of the business, which was doing well, but still quite stressful.
Yeah.
And then the retainer side of the business as well, which was growing every time somebody finishes a project and move on to a retainer, and you got the retained revenue. But we wasn't charging a retainer. We didn't have any contracts. It was just like up and down. So we switched that to be contract only and not have like, people just come and use us whenever you want as
Okay, yeah. So more like, okay.
Yeah. And that was a huge unlock. It sounds pretty obvious, but trying to get somebody onto a contract for thousands of pounds a month, when you're small and you'll accept pretty much anything, it's a hard thing to try and.
Yeah, I guess once your mind is open to like the market, what people will pay, like I've had this a few times in my life where like you just kind of have those turning points where like things just change when. Yeah, I guess for you it was obviously that. I guess for me to answer that question, the hardest day in business, mine was probably, just to keep it short, probably when I went back registered in my Amazon business. So I told this story so many times, but like basically what happened was started doing really well with Amazon. Started Amazon for about a year, it was doing okay. I think we were doing like 10, 15K a month in sales, but I was still working my full-time job. I basically dropped my hours down to part-time and really just put everything into the Amazon business. So it started going to like 20K, 25K, 30K a month. And like the margin at the time was like really good. It was like almost 30%. So like while I was actually at my job, I was making like, well, say for example, I do a 30K a month and I made 25% margin. Like I was making I don't even know what that is.
7 grand?
Yeah, 7.5 grand a month, right? And this was before I was VAT registered. Like I scaled quite fast, and then quit my job. Basically took on a warehouse, bought a stupid fucking 25 grand car, took on my first member of staff, and I went VAT registered all at the same time. And basically, like it all just like. I went from making 30% margin.
30K a month.
30K a month, went from making like 25, 30% margin. The next month, just as like the final month of my job, I made like 20% margin. The month after that, I went VAT registered, but it was the time where like container prices were at an all-time high because of COVID, and I think like the Suez Canal or something, or whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah.
And container prices went from like 2K to like 20K. So literally all my costs were going up. I'd gone VAT registered, and the first month I ever went back registered, I'm not even joking you, I did like maybe like 25 grand in revenue and probably 1,000 quid profit. Really? And that's not like, that's gross. No, that's gross. No, gross. And then I have all my expenses and stuff, and like honestly, like my business went from making like decent, I went from making like 6, 7, 8, 9K a month to like nothing overnight. And I just quit my job, taken on a car, taken on a commercial warehouse. Like it was definitely the worst day of my life, or the worst time. I basically just doubled down, and literally as soon as I quit my job, like 6 months later, we were back in the green, like just doing well. But yeah, that was definitely my hardest day in business, but hardest time for sure.
Yeah.
Best day in business, definitely.
Sounds worse than mine.
Hey?
That's worse than mine.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty down bad, I'll be honest. Like, and it's just because, honestly, it's just because I didn't know what I was doing. And like, I'd taken on so much stuff at once, and I didn't realise, basically for Amazon sellers, VAT registration used to be a big thing. So I'm sure a lot of you watching, if you're in the Amazon space, you'll know about the whole VAT changes that happened with the Amazon fees. But basically, the difference between a VAT registered seller and a non-VAT registered seller used to be massive. So if you made 20% margin as a non-VAT seller, you'd be making like 8 to 10% when you go VAT registered. So you'd lose 10% margin overnight. And I basically didn't forecast that and work out any more margins. And I basically just didn't know anything. So when I went VAT registered, it just completely fucked me basically.
Yeah.
In terms of our best day, it was definitely like back end of last year when I think we did like 600K in a month. And I had one day where I did like, my best ever day, I think I did like £33,500 in sales.
Nice.
And I made like over 5K in profit in one day. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I was just like, and literally for like the whole week, it just continued. And then I ran out of stock and I didn't have any more stock. But like, just, that was definitely the best day. But I cut it short there because I know we've got other questions to get through. But when is the right time to hire? I guess this is obviously a different question for mine and your business, right? Because yours is very service delivery based, and yours relies on people.
Yeah.
Whereas mine is a lot different. But I'll let you go.
So, for us, as I said, it's service delivery. But the hardest thing is when you are growing a service-based business. Ultimately, you're selling somebody else's time, like at the root of all of that as a service, unless you're a software. So any increase, massively affects your profit in terms of head count. But in the early days, you do need to build up cash flow, and you do need to try and be profitable as much as you can. And it can be you could only be making £6,000 a month profit, let's say, as a service business with a couple of members of staff after you paid yourself, and you can just go and hire another person, and then you just completely fucked. You're basically £3,000 a month profit. So you need to get momentum, save cash, and just really try and run things on a shoestring, but also at the same time try and maintain some level of service quality. But you do reach kind of an escape velocity where you are making a substantial amount of cash, and 1, 2 extra, 3 extra hires within a month, if you are growing, really doesn't affect your profit, or it's all relative ultimately. And I think in terms of the right time to hire, the actual switch that you basically make when you have that escape velocity where hires don't affect your net profit that much when you do grow. The right time to hire is actually before you reach capacity, because ultimately as a service-based business, what you want to be able to do is still maintain that level of quality and have enough capacity to be able to sell something tomorrow and have that client still have that same level of quality that you give to the rest of your customers. So early as you possibly can, invest for the future and build your capacity in line with what you're kind of forecasting in terms of sales and in terms of company growth. And in terms of your actual self, like any operational hires for you within the business, for me, it's more about when something annoys you, as you ultimately get bigger and as you ultimately start earning more money and you can afford to hire operational staff that, take things off your plate and make your life happier. As soon as you can afford something and as soon as, you don't mind parting with money to fix a certain issue, I think just do it. Like one thing that's really helped me this year is to actually improve my quality of life and reduce my amount of stress was just in hiring in operations to ultimately allow me to be able to work on the things that I enjoy. Doesn't mean it's necessarily the best thing for the business for me to work on something that I actually enjoy, but it allows me to do that, so I'm happier at work. And I think if you're happier at work, you do a better job overall, and you're more likely to see something out for a longer period of time and stick with the business and, not go through these like peaks and troughs of motivation and I definitely kind of long-winded.
I definitely agree. Like I was way too late to hire like my first proper member of staff that wasn't just like a packer or a warehouse member. And it was kind of like a mindset thing of like hiring your first employee on the books, like that isn't just, it is scary because you're, ultimately they're relying on you for an income, right? So, in business you do have peaks and troughs, right? And especially in like the early days, things can be unstable, cash flow can be unpredictable and all these different kind of things. So like taking on your first member of staff seems daunting and sometimes you can't see, for me definitely, I couldn't see a direct ROI in hiring initially from day one. But like honestly, probably 2 months after I did it, I was like, holy fuck, like I should have done this like 12 months ago, genuinely. And I don't know, I think it's maybe because, I don't know, you just have that mental barrier and that mental fear.
Well, I think ask other people and tell people your situation and, you know, get advice on it. I think that sometimes, you know, if it is too scary, the thought of taking somebody on, because I see it as like mortgages, basically. Every member of staff that you get is basically you paying another mortgage of somebody's house and their kids, you know, you're feeding their kids, not directly, you know, they're still working for you, but and putting work in, but like, you know, that ultimately comes down to you being able to afford that. And I think that, like, if it is too much and it is too scary, I wouldn't say go and do it. Yes, it can put you in a negative position and you know, put you in a bad, can put you in a position where you basically have no choice but to scale the business, but, you know, I won't put yourself in any undue stress too early.
I think it really depends what your goal is with the business. Like, what is it actually that you're looking to achieve? Like, you've got to think from the end backwards. Like, what is the end goal for your business? Or not even the end goal, maybe like for like 2 years time or like 1 year's time. Like, where do you actually want to be? And to actually get to that position, what do you require? Like, what, you know, does it require team members? You might just want to stay and be a fucking freelance web designer or, you know, or something, you know, or you might just want to be an Amazon seller doing all the prep and everything yourself, right? So you've got to really understand what you want and then work back from that, I think. My advice, if you want to scale though, is hire. You need to hire, basically. Like, that's one thing that just wasn't programmed into my mind. You need to hire.
Yeah, and you can think about it in a different way, because obviously cash is the lifeblood of any business. Like, running out of cash is the number one reason why businesses go out of business. Yeah. So what I'd maybe do is I'd think about setting money aside and say, give yourself a time limit. Like, you know, you're not.
Yeah, we were saying this the other day, actually.
Yeah, like, you know, any hire, it's even what I think about now. Like, if you're going to bring in a super senior member of staff on a high salary, when is going to be the time where you're going to call it quits? So let's say I want this person to come in and help me grow the business to here, and, you know, I'm going to risk 6 months on it, you know, and if it's not working after 6 months, I'm going to get rid of it. So you think 6x this person's salary, what's that going to cost me? This is the cost of the gamble that I'm going to take, essentially, by bringing that person on. So have the money sat there aside if that makes it feel easier. Some people can just, you know, make that decision and just run with it and go with it early, you know, or, you know, when other people wouldn't necessarily do it in their position. I think do what's right for you.
Yeah,
and,
it's very
and
situational.
the way to get around it is to have the cash flow there ultimately to be able to protect yourself.
If you've got unlimited cash flow, if you've got loads of cash reserves, then it's fine. Like, you're not really worried about it anyway. It's just exactly. Like, but in the process of scaling, especially like, I mean, you run an agency, right? So you're just printing cash all the time. You've got no stock to buy, right? But when you're in like e-com or Amazon or a stock-based business, you have to buy stock. So cash flow is something more that you've got to consider. So it all depends on your cash flow. But I think really just based on your goals, you've got to really understand what you want and then work from there.
Yeah.
What is your focus moving forward? Personally and with business, maybe.
Sort my health out, get more healthy.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I want to keep growing the business, but with less involvement. I think I've managed to achieve that to some respects. Like, in the past month, we've had our best month ever for profit and revenue, and I've not actually been that involved, to be honest. Like,
definitely not.
It's basically it's a meme to the point where I've literally not done any work for 4 weeks. But I'm
real.
excited to get back. I'm excited to get back and, you know, do what I enjoy. I really just want to grow it. Like, I've got a figure in mind of like what I want to get to in terms of turnover and profit, and then, you know, I'm launching an e-com brand at the minute, so I want to launch that and grow it. I think really just do things that I enjoy, because I've spent a lot of time. I'm still only young, I'm 27, but you know, the whole start of the business was basically doing things that I hated doing, and that was really stressful and I didn't enjoy it. So it's now about, you know, ultimately continuing to enjoy what I do and protect that at all costs, really, and make sure that, you know, we can still grow and we can still be really profitable, but protect my lifestyle and happiness.
Well, I feel like again, from like, just from spending like the last 5 weeks with you, you've kind of got the perfect work-life balance, right? Because like you've got a very controversial opinion on like work-life balance and on like everything like that, right? When you speak to like a lot of entrepreneurs, founders, they are very work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, just getting locked in, just doing whatever it takes to succeed. Whereas yours is like, you very much designed your life around what you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
And as a byproduct of that, I feel like it's ended up actually growing your business more because you're actually happier, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like if I was to die tomorrow, I'm not going to think I should have grown my business to X amount a month, and that's my biggest regret. It'd be not going to Tokyo.
Yeah.
So I just want to protect my happiness, but also, try and become a good operator. Like, the best operator is somebody who makes amazing decisions and mentors a team and has a team. And there's a guy, what's his name? James Sinclair.
James Sinclair,
I love James Sinclair.
Shout out James Sinclair.
So he says entrepreneurship plus management equals success. It's not necessarily work 24 hours a day equals success. It's that entrepreneurship and management, really. So it's about doing more of the management and getting the most out of my team and supporting them and helping them with their careers. And, I think that creating the right environment for the business to succeed, I'm still going to be in it, but like be an operator who doesn't have to work, 24 hours a day and but I understand at the same time that the business will grow faster if I was to spend more time in it, but that's not the life that I want.
Is that coming at the sacrifice of your happiness?
Yes, it would absolutely come at the sacrifice of my happiness,
And no, I definitely think you're right.
But some people literally love it, love scaling, and love sitting at the laptop and working. I genuinely commend them because I'd have a different life if I was doing that. Maybe I'd have.
I don't think it's like. I mean, for me, definitely, it's more like I enjoy the process. It's not that I enjoy sitting down and typing on a keyboard all day and doing the things that I don't want to do. It's actually enjoying becoming that person who is capable of doing X, Y, Z and creating something fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think to create something great, you have to be. Well, it's when you speak about being like what is a great entrepreneur? A great entrepreneur is somebody who isn't working in the day-to-day ops of the business all day, every day. And I don't think you need to do that. And I think I probably do that way too much. I think I probably get involved in stuff that probably necessarily shouldn't be doing. And actually what the truly great successful entrepreneurs are doing, yes, they are working hard, but they're making great strategic decisions and directing the business in the right way, I think.
Yeah, it's building a team around you and knowing who to hire and building the right team around you so a business can just go on. That's what I'm trying to do.
Cool. So what is my focus moving forward? To keep it short, really to grow the Amazon business to $1 million a month. Like last year, our best month ever was like 600K, which was good. But as we came into Q1, obviously e-commerce, Amazon, the whole retail space, the volume is not the same in Q1 as it is in Q4, right?
Unless you sell health products.
Yeah, unless you sell health products actually, which in
maybe diversify your stock.
Yeah, maybe, which in Q1 is arguably better than Q4.
Yeah.
But for my business specifically, Q4 really is where it booms. So, or at the moment anyway, I'm really trying to change that. It's something James Sinclair speaks about as well. You've probably seen on his YouTube channel that like, if you've got a seasonal business, trying to actually increase the revenue in those other months to actually iron out the profitability and make sure you don't have loss-making months, which we don't. But anyway, I digress.
Health brand business is called January Q5.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge.
So really, like we did some great months, but I really want to get to, I mean, by the end of 2025, I want to hit £1 million in a month in sales. Maybe it's just an ego thing. Maybe it's just like I've just set that as the goal. But next year, I really want to make it like consistent. So I really want to be doing $1 million a month consistently. So over a 12-month period, really, we should do 12 million. So whether that's 3 million in November and 600K a month the rest of the year or whatever it might be, so be it. But we want to be on $1 million a month run rate, really. And ideally, we want to iron out the peaks and the troughs as much as possible.
To add to that, what would you want your personal situation to be at $1 million a month?
So this is the question, right? So, I mean, I made probably one of the most important hires ever, probably like 8 months ago, which was ops. So I basically hired my dad to basically run the day-to-day ops of the business, and that genuinely has changed my life. Like, I was just in the day-to-day ops every single day. Like I was in the warehouse, I was managing the staff, everything like that. I couldn't focus that much on the actual high-level strategy that I needed to be focusing on. Whereas now, I don't have to be in the warehouse 24/7. I can focus more on high level decision making and actually strategically growing the business instead of just running it. And that obviously allows me to travel, right? So in terms of like what my personal life looks like, I mean, I love just getting dialed in and just working. Mm-hmm. So I would probably say my life will still evolve around work, but where I will be in the world, I don't know. At the moment, I currently live in the UK, mm-hmm. but when my tenancy comes up to an end, I don't know, Europe, Dubai, Bali for a couple of months maybe. Bali's good. Bali is good. Yeah. It's just you get ill as fuck. Yeah. It's a bit, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably see myself living somewhere hot 6 months of the year, running the businesses remotely, still scaling, and probably prep as well, logistics, prep, fulfillment, probably diverge more into that.
To do what you do now, but move to a different place and the business keeps growing? Yeah.
If you put it in short, yeah. That's definitely it. Just keep scaling, ultimately. Just scale.
Keep it scaling.
Keep it scaling. Which actually leads on to the next question. What do you think of the whole laptop lifestyle and working remotely? A bit controversial.
Yeah, so it's great. It is good. I see it as, well, it's completely my personal situation, but I really hate working away. Like if I'm in a new place, and I like traveling to new places, not going back to the same place every time, but like if I'm in a new place, I want to see that place and I want to go out and adventure and explore, and like I tried a lot to be somebody who gets locked in on holiday, and I really just can't do it. Like I'm not as productive as I should be, so I think, fuck it, I'm just going to enjoy the place that I'm in. So actually about a year ago, I started switching to actually traveling less. And when I do go on holiday, it's laptop shut and phone off, essentially. And my actual like physical environment, like where I am, has a massive impact on my productivity. So like I built a nice office in my house, decorated it, made it all cool, got my big MacBook screen, and that for me helps me be productive and helps me stay focused. So I actually struggle to just work on a laptop, small screen, and like typing on a MacBook keyboard in a fucking hotel room. Like it really just doesn't allow me to focus, so I just kind of avoid it in a way. But I understand people can actually just travel everywhere and can actually just work like that and still be productive. But I can see a massive difference in my productivity from being at home versus away.
Yeah, I think it comes down to a routine thing as well. Because when you're away, you just have a lack of routine completely.
Yeah, it just goes.
I haven't actually done the whole traveling, work remotely thing enough. But I think if you stay somewhere a minimum of 4 weeks, I think you definitely can. Once you get like your gym set up, you find somewhere clean to eat, like a few good places to eat. You find your routine. I feel like you can get locked in, and I feel like I definitely could get locked in like Bali, for example. Where we were literally just out in Bali for the past like 4 weeks, and the first 2 weeks were like so good. I was so dialed in. I was so locked in. The only thing that kind of was annoying was the time zone, which was actually really annoying.
Yeah, but, incredibly annoying.
Yeah, incredibly annoying for everybody. But also the fact that you just get ill. Like if I wasn't ill that trip, I would have been so dialed and so locked in. So I'll definitely try Dubai and try that kind of thing. But yeah, my thoughts on it are, I don't think if you're traveling around with like the whole laptop lifestyle, like with a suitcase traveling to a new place every week, I just do not think you can get locked in. And anybody that says you can, I think they're lying.
Yeah. And I think as well, like when I first started traveling, and I started making quite good money, it was when I was at my mum and dad's house. And the reason I was traveling, or living at my mum and dad's house, the reason I was traveling so much was literally just escapism, because I didn't have my own house and I wasn't happy with my home environment set up. And I think that having a sick, place where I live at the minute, and like, having the setup that I do, I actually want to travel less. So it's actually more productive for me, essentially. And then when I do go away, it's, laptop enjoy, and I think that is my laptop away and enjoy where I am, and like I get more out of the holiday and feel better when I do return to work. So instead of like just blending them all into one and that being your lifestyle, personally for me, I really struggle with it, and if you can do it, that's brilliant.
Props to you.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of people who do the whole laptop lifestyle thing is like they're probably working like that. The level of output is not the same as if they were actually dialed in at home. It's just not.
Yeah, it's nowhere near.
If you're sat there working at a beach club,
Yeah, it's that incredible level of distraction
Yes,
everywhere.
yeah.
You have to have ultimate discipline. To be
Yeah,
like,
but
no.
it's not even about discipline. You've got to create the right environment to be able to be
Yeah.
dialed in, and like that's just not the right environment. Like it's much easier to like eliminate distractions and actually just create an environment where there isn't any distractions than actually have the discipline to resist them. Like it's just about creating that environment, and I definitely think the same. Like I think having somewhere that you're locked in is ultimately more net beneficial probably for your output and your business, but again, it all depends on what you want to do. If you love traveling and you want to do it and you can just work 3 hours a day, you know, why not, right? But it's not for me. Definitely want somewhere more permanent and yeah, to be locked in a bit more. We'll probably finish on this last one. Which one do you want to do?
How much money is enough money?
Yeah, how much money is enough money? So last question we're going to finish on is how much money is enough money? Again, very controversial question, and you get a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram saying that you need £100 million exit to be happy and live and content. But what is your thoughts and opinions?
It's a completely unique. There's not the right answer. It's not right or wrong. Anybody's opinion. Like, I think you'll see people that are making 10 grand a month, let's say, and they think that enough money, their opinion, is £1 million a month, but they've not been there and they've not been through the stages, and they've not felt what it's like to have $1 million. Yeah. I've not got $1 million, but like you make people saying these wild numbers, and for me, like enough money is ultimately having a nice house, having a nice car, and going on a holiday X amount of times a year. And I believe that for me to be happy for the rest of my life, genuinely, the level of income that I have now, if I can sustain that for the rest of my life, obviously I want to grow it, but that's for not acquiring like assets or acquiring like materialistic things. I do it for the love of the game, ultimately. But if I was to sustain the same level of money that I have now, I'd be happy, ultimately. I think that, it's... And my actual expenditure really hasn't increased for 3 years. I make a lot more money now than I did 2 years ago, but my actual expenditure and the amount I spend hasn't increased as a result of me being happy with how much money I have ultimately. Maybe it'll change. I think that maybe I want a gigantic house, like fucking 20-bed mansion or something. Maybe that's just something that I'll want in the future. But I think enough money is ultimately a very personal question, and that could be for somebody who's in debt now, paying off their debt and having a normal salary. Like my actual money that I wanted, if for the first year in business I got into a lot of debt, I had a different business that I was trying to run, and I got into a really bad financial position, and I just wanted the salary that I was on previously. Really? That was literally it. Like I was on a salary of like 20 grand a year or whatever. It's 1.6k a month take home. That's literally what I wanted, and to be free. Wow, so that was my original goal, and that was I hit that, and everything else has just been like brilliant on top of that. But
I think you're definitely right. I think a lot of people like do genuinely just love the game, but they attach a financial figure to it. I think the reason why they probably do that is to like, I don't even know, there's so many reasons, but like I feel like there is a certain level of expectation of like, I think just from social media, right, of like what level of wealth you've amassed or what exit you have equals how successful you are, or like how well you've done. But I think ultimately like how people should do it, in my opinion, is like reverse engineer the lifestyle that you want and figure out how much that costs. Like, okay, someone could say they want 50 million, but realistically their lifestyle probably only costs 200k a year.
You'd be able to find a way to spend 50 million on houses and yachts, but I couldn't even think of a way to spend 50 million with a lifestyle.
And I think it's just, I think for most people, and definitely for me, it's like I love the game. Like I just love building shit and proving to myself and others probably ultimately that I can actually do it, and I can actually build something that is successful and does do well. I think that's probably,
I think you get to that point after you hit your goal.
Yeah.
Like if you have a goal of X amount a month that you want to make, and then it just becomes all about like proving to yourself what you can actually achieve, because it's the thing within us to always want to be the best that we can be and like achieve the most in our life. And I don't think you should ever Well, yeah, you should set goals ultimately, but it's past a certain point.
5 minutes? Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, do you want to finish it?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you said.
Yeah.
we'll end on that.
Whatever else. I digress.
Yeah, we'll end on that.